Yes, indeed. Sure. Yep. Right. Yes, absolutely.
Really see my hands, but
He smiles and he, yeah. So,
yeah, even I got the roar. I go, woo, to her control. I try to
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
I've got a little black scooter too.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm going to be sending an email to the committee probably on Monday with my thoughts and on the floor. Yeah. I think that whole parking goes up to almost that anyway, doesn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because I think we have no parking on that side of the street up to 8th Avenue. So 810 must be just on the other side.
Didn't I do that like a year ago or 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Just,
yeah, because it was just a housekeeping thing.
Right.
Clean up.
yeah.
We need to go now. Nobody parks there anyway.
Try again. Who is that?
problems?
Yeah, we're having trouble with T-Wall. We're having trouble getting Nick from T-Wall on the call.
Oh, yippee skippy.
We can get him in the call, but we can't hear him.
Do we need to? I don't know, just asking.
Oh, for item 12, right?
Maybe you can phone him?
Yeah.
For the parking lease agreement.
That's a no-brainer. Just let them have the sign up like everybody else. It's reserve some spots for them.
Yeah.
Could reserve some spots for them, and whoever wants to park, they can come down and buy their ticket just like everybody else.
Are we good? All right, welcome everyone. Today is May 8th, 2025. With the quorum of members present, I'll call the Infrastructure and Facilities Committee to order. And we'll start with agenda item number 1, approval of minutes of the April 10th, 2025 meeting.
Motion to approve as presented.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second from Larson. Any discussion, changes? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And that passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 2, discussion and possible action on parking restrictions in the 800 block of Sherman Street. Do we want Eric or Lou or
No.
Alan? Go ahead.
Yes, so this request came from Tanya Van Slate at 810 Sherman, and she's here to discuss it, so I didn't want to put a lot in the staff report, but she'll explain her situation.
Sure. Microphone's yours, Tanya.
So I got pictures as well, if it helps.
Hold the mic down so we can hear you, ma'am.
Oh. I have pictures as well, if it helps. So this is my son, Kamari Jones. He was born with a condition called tuberous sclerosis. It comes with a lot from he can only see out of his right eye, so he's blind in his left eye. He has epilepsy. He has daily seizures. They're not the convulsive kind. He wanders. He doesn't know what he's doing when he has them, and he kind of will just kind of walk around or whatever. He doesn't have control of his body basically. And behavioral issues, a lot of different things come with it. I could talk about it for hours, to be honest. He's medicated. It doesn't help. He eventually will have to get the tumors removed possibly, because he's had them since 2 months old and he's 6. The visual impairment is the biggest thing as well. I bought the house 3 years ago. And it's kind of always been a problem, I realized, with people just parking up right there, or during the fair especially. We did put no parking button signs up at one point. The police and the parking person told us legally we can't do that, I guess. And it was for the safety of him, obviously. So they said the best thing to do then, and this was last summer, was to ask the district person, sorry, if we could get a permanent sign put in, for him, mostly regarding for him. Somebody came back and tore all my signs down and threw them in my yard, so I don't want to go about it that way again. I'd rather have something permanent, I guess. So that is the biggest reason. Right now, our across the street neighbors as well have extra people living with them, and they have an abundance of vehicles right now. 3 that they park in their driveway, and they have 2 where they could park in front of their house or on the side or a little up the block. For whatever reason, I'm not confrontational at all, so they like to park both of their vehicles directly in front of my house, or across from each other for some reason, so one on their side of the street, one on mine, and it has almost caused several accidents. I've even seen the city bus slam on the brakes behind their vehicle because another car is coming this way, so if I can show you guys kind of what I'm talking about, is that okay if I bring the picture up there? Is
Sure.
that okay?
If anyone would like to see it, yeah, we could pass it around.
My house window, and then I would just like to add that I wanted this done when I first moved there, but then it's gotten like this, so it's just another extra reason. But my main focus is for my son. You know, if you close your left eye, you can only imagine, like, you don't see anything if he's like walking this way. He has a program he goes through because he's on Social Security, so they set us up with different programs. But we even thought about like getting a fence to keep him in. However, they didn't have the funds to do that, and my kids do ride scooters on the sidewalk and stuff. You know, I have 2 other kids as well, besides him, that are younger at the house. So I just a permanent sign, like no parking from, you know, like our corner to the alley or to the end. I don't know how they wanted to do it, but it doesn't impact anybody else on my block because there is nobody. You know what I mean? So it shouldn't be like a problem for anybody else, is, you know what I'm saying. So.
I have a question, ma'am. It says you're at 810 Sherman Street.
Yeah.
So you're just,
I'm on the corner
you're
of
just
9th and
west,
Sherman.
you're just west of 8th Avenue. So you're on the corner of 9th and
Yep.
Sherman.
Yep. And then there's like a house, or there's an alley, and then there's a house.
Right. I guess the
Back
reason why
there.
I'm asking is because we have no parking on that side of the street all the way up to 8th Avenue.
Okay.
And you know, if it helps for the safety of your family, I wouldn't have a problem extending that no parking another
Yeah,
block.
I didn't realize it even went that far. I just know the first couple of blocks I've seen have it on both sides, actually, on Sherman. So.
Well, yeah, I guess, I'll make the motion that we extend the no parking 1 block up to the corner of 9th and Sherman. And feel free to continue discussion, but I'll make the motion.
I would second that.
Okay, thank you for the discussion. Motion by Larson, second by Watson. I guess my only concern is we have it, thank you. We have it agendized as just in that one section. Is that okay? Or are
I
you,
can't understand you, Chad. Can you speak more?
sorry, you have it agendized as just in
Well,
front of the
it
house?
was agendized as general, just no parking in the 800 block of Sherman Street. So it wasn't, this was the request in this one area, just in the map in here, but the way it's agendized is for the whole block. My question would be, would you be saying on both sides or just the north side, like this person?
I think, you know, we don't have, it would just be screwing up the whole street if we made it both sides, because we don't have no parking on the entire south side of the street, so.
Okay, so you'd just be saying on the north side for that one?
Just
extra
on the
block.
north side in front of their house, yes.
Okay, Alder Watson?
So the no parking extends farther already, right? It goes from, like, do you know, does it go
Goes
all
from-
the way from 5th to 8th?
No, it goes from 3rd to 8th, or
Third.
1st to 8th.
Oh, so that whole way? 1st Ave to 8th?
Yes, we did this as a house cleaning item. It was a year or 2 ago because of the parking nuisance that was on the corner of 3rd and Sherman. And there was already signs all the way up to 8th Street, and nobody knew why the signs were there because there wasn't an ordinance for it. So we just did a little housekeeping item and made it, we continued it, no parking, and made an ordinance. So I wouldn't have a problem going the extra block.
That makes sense, and it doesn't seem like it would cost that much either, just to put in a couple extra signs. Is there any other, like, notices or signs we could do to, like, I mean, besides no parking, but like, slow for children playing? You know, I've seen some of those in neighborhoods. I don't know if that's even a possibility.
Guess Eric, you know the
Yeah,
history of that.
we typically don't do that because we found that they aren't, you know, they don't work. But I mean, obviously the no parking can be enforced and stuff, so, yeah. Mhm.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And no one's opposed? Okay, thank you. And we'll move on to agenda item number 3. That will go to council on Tuesday? On May 27th? and that's when we'll finalize it, and then after that, the signs will come out. If you would like to, yeah. It's,
I can keep you informed too, ma'am.
okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 3, discussion and possible action on state municipal agreement for signal rehab at Bridge Street and 6th Street.
So in my staff report, I kind of lumped 3, 4, 5, and 6 together just because they're all the same. Not all the same, they're different intersections. But this is a program that we applied for funds on connecting highways. It's called the HISA program, Highway Safety Improvement. It's a very favorable program to the city because it's 90-10, which a lot of our DOT grants are 70-30. So this is a 90-10 cost split. We design it and then get 90% of those funds back, and then we would get 90% of our construction funds back. I know the electricians, talking with them, they're very happy that we applied for this because a lot of these signals are in not the greatest shape, so they would be a lot of knockdowns, accidents. So I think that's what this program is based upon. That other communities, it's a competitive grant process. We submitted this grant, and we got four more of them. We have 2 in the works right now. So we've been pretty successful. We'll have 6 total of these grants in the pipeline. 2 are going to get built next summer. So these 4 would probably be 2 years down the road. But if anybody has any questions on the particular intersections, I can answer them. But I mean, I would definitely recommend this is one of the more favorable funding programs that the state offers. So
With no objections, I'll lump agenda items 3, 4, 5, and 6 together.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the grouped items.
Okay, I have a motion
And make
from
a second.
Alder Neal, second from Alder Watson. Should I read all the intersections off quick? I'll do that. Bridge Street and 6th Street, Bridge Street and 5th Street, Bridge Street and 1st Avenue, Thomas Street and Grand Avenue. So those are the 4 intersections. With a motion and a second, any further discussion? See none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None are opposed. And we'll move on to agenda item number 7, discussion and possible action on plat and relocation order for project ID 6999-18-11, Business Campus Trail East-West Connector.
So we are currently underway on the design of this project, which is the East-West Connector Trail along 72nd Avenue. It connects at 72nd Avenue, kind of follows city property, which is not used in the business campus, and then extends to 84th Avenue. Early on in the design process, we ran a couple of different alternates. One alternate was to use all city property, and then the second alternate was would require some real estate acquisition. That is the more desirable route to purchase some property, and it's actually also less expensive. So to sort of kick off the real estate acquisition process, we need to approve this plat and relocation order.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to approve the relocation order.
Motion to approve from Alder Neal,
Second.
second from Larson. Any discussion? See none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed, and that passes. Move on to agenda item number 8, discussion and possible action on adding pedestrian warnings on 17th Avenue at Garfield Avenue. So I can kick this one off. Resident reached out to me about that crossing. It's by O'Reilly Auto Parts there going into the west side of Marathon Park. She is here. If you would like to come up and just kind of tell us what happened and share your story. Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So I've lived in that neighborhood for 30-plus years, and approximately a year ago, I had reached out to the police department and asked if they could do like a safety survey, because I use that crosswalk almost daily. And they did do a survey. They had a police officer come and monitor it, and they came back to me and they said, at this time, we're not seeing a foot of traffic to enhance the safety of that crosswalk. Because that was my biggest complaint. It's really hard to get across there. And people in my general neighborhood have always complained about it. But at that time a year ago, they said there was nothing that they could do differently. Fast forward to April 1st this year, we were going for a walk, a family walk into the park with 3 dogs. My family member was in front of me. He was, there's 4 lanes of traffic. He was in the 4th lane, just about to enter the park when he was narrowly missed by getting hit by the car, but the car did hit our dog. The person that hit him admitted to doing 40 miles per hour when they hit our dog, and was a 25-year-old driver with no insurance. And so that kind of put me into a big frenzy. Here we are a month later. Our dog did survive, narrowly, but did survive. We are about just under $3,000 in vet bills. And I guess I got hypersensitive now about crossing that crosswalk, and now I'm visually seeing all these other crosswalks that I just feel are not up to par in our community. And my other big thing about that road, and I don't know if this is the meeting I'm talking about that, is the speed. So if you go in front of Festival Foods, it's 25 miles per hour, but you go down 1 block south in front of O'Reilly and it's 35. Most of the people in our community that I've talked with, including police officers, have said they are aware that people don't do 35, that they're generally going over. So I'm also trying to advocate to get that dropped to 25 to match up with the speed, which is 1 block north. Some things that I'm looking for are higher visibility. I know that you might not be able to see this far, but like in another community, they have signs like this at like car level height that say state law. Maybe that would help people understand that it truly is a state law. I can tell you that when I cross, I can make it, I can try to gauge that I have enough time and I can get to the middle. And if a car is speeding.
Please come up to the mic,
Oh,
ma'am.
sorry. If a car is speeding, they definitely don't stop. They let me stand there in the middle even though I have the right of way. And it's a big problem. So I'm looking for maybe flashing lights. The white lines in the crosswalk itself there don't even go from one side to the other. So there must have been some street repairs done there a while ago, and you can see that they don't even carry all the way through. They're covered up with tar. So that is concerning as well, which I have pictures, and I'm not sure if I shared them with you. I know I've shared several pictures of you with our dog and things of that nature. So this is just another random thing that I found. It's higher visibility paint for our crosswalks. All of our crosswalks are white. I don't know if that's something that could be considered or not, but I do feel that we really lack in visibility in our crosswalks. And it took this incident for me, at least personally, to maybe want to start like asking for more, even though I had asked for more a year ago and was told no. So.
Paula, can you say your name and street address just
Sure.
for the minutes?
Sure, Paula Schultz, and it's Garfield Avenue.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
we'll discuss it.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
I kind of like that idea, to be honest with you, because I myself, I walk my dog over to Marathon Park, and there is no designated crosswalk, to go across that 4 lanes of traffic, and it is dangerous, and I wouldn't mind walking a few extra feet to get to Marathon Park if I know there was a designated crosswalk where people could cross safely, and actually, there isn't any, and for even, not only for the safety of the neighborhood, but for the safety of the fairgoers, I see this something that could be needed there, so I'll make the motion to pursue some kind of flashing lights or something, some kind of crosswalk safety there on,
Okay,
so.
all right,
I'll second that.
okay. We have a motion and a second. We'll keep discussing it, but just so we have the motion and the second so we can discuss it further, but I think we'll refine it I have some ideas on how we can refine it down to something we can actually do. Alan, go ahead.
Sure. Well, it is a designated crosswalk. There are crosswalks painted. They were just recently repainted. So the crosswalk does go all the way across. It just was repainted with white paint, and it does have the cross ladders to it. So typically, what we have been doing with the city is if it's a standard crosswalk with a stop sign, we just put the two lines going across. If it's a high traffic or it's a non-controlled intersection, then we put the crosshatches through it, which this one has. It also does have pedestrian crossing ahead and pedestrian crossing signs on it. So, we did, it's not like it is visible to me when you drive down it because we do have it marked with the pedestrians ahead and the pedestrian crossing, and it is recently repainted. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Sure. Alder Watson?
I think you're doing some stuff. I mean, it's marked and whatnot, but I think if it's possible to do, it sounds like 15,000 is the thing. And I guess finance can hopefully find that, or is it going to come out of you'll have to go to finance after that?
So that was my thought, to fine tune Alder Larson's motion. I would think if we wanted it done this year, we would put in a budget request or a budget modification for the flashing signs.
To go to finance.
And then it would go to finance, and we would have to find the money. If finance can't find the money, then we would have to budget it for next year, I believe. But
And I guess my other question.
that's how I would see the motion going.
Okay. Along the lines of what she was also talking about, like maybe that's something that the Bike and Ped Committee can look more into, is some of these, I know they already talk about like the flashing lights and stuff like that, but like the reflective paint would be a really great idea, or, like the little square thing, the reflectors that are, and I like the idea of the, state law. Sometimes we need reminding that we do need to, pause for pedestrians and stuff. And some of that stuff might make our city more walkable, which is, I thought, one of our goals, right? It's in the plan to make it more bike and pedestrian friendly. So maybe that's something Bike and Ped can focus on, or we can. I don't know. So, thanks.
Sure. Alder Martins?
No, but thank you. I frequently travel down these, 17th Avenue and also Stewart Avenue, and it is a little bit surprising that the gap between controlled intersections on that stretch of the roadway between Sherman Street, there's a controlled intersection on Sherman Street and one on Stewart Avenue. So having one of these high-intensity beacons or rapid beacons would definitely be advantageous. I just, reading the staff memo here, one of the things, that caught my eye here is it says that item number 4, a maximum of 4 lanes crossed unless there's a raised median, in which case it can be 6 lanes, and it says that condition is not met. So maybe explain to me how that's not met if this is a 4-lane roadway.
There's a left-hand turn lane, so it'd be considered a fifth. It's supposed to be, by the length of the width of the roadway.
Okay, yep, I get it now. So, but, which brings us to another point. I've stopped at that taqueria quite a bit, and that is a terrible intersection. So, I totally support adding this beacon here to assist in pedestrian crossing at this intersection.
Alan or TJ, I don't know, is 17th Avenue looking to get resurfaced or in the near future? Or can you maybe share a little plan on that? Thank you.
It was added to the 5-year plan. We are looking at applying for federal or state funding to either LRIP or STP Urban to help get that project funded. It's going to be a very expensive road with four lanes, a turn lane, the median, and so on. So we will be applying for funding, but it did get added to 30. So.
Okay. And I guess then would be a time to, anything we can do to.
Well, I think at that time, the pedestrian accommodations can be improved at the intersection. I think at that point, we probably look at shifting the crosswalk a little bit and maybe going into the median to provide a stop, so at that time, it would be a perfect time to look at increasing pedestrian safety.
Okay, thank you. So Alder Larson, I guess, is your motion to approve the beacons and look for a budget modification to get this done this year?
Yeah, and put some flashing lights up there and stuff. Yeah, make it a true crosswalk.
All right. And Neil, that's fine? Okay, so I have a motion from Larson, second from Neil. Any further discussion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And none are opposed. That passes. Thank you. Yep. We'll move on to agenda item number 9, discussion and possible action on revision to the developers agreement with Green Tree Construction, Inc. for Green Tree Meadows subdivision. Alan?
Yeah. So the modification is pretty straightforward. It is in paragraph 12 when it talks about the timeline. Green Tree had hoped to be under construction already, but due to some, I guess, some discussions with the DNR and some difficulties in getting the permits, which they have now. They have all the DNR permits that are required. They are not probably going to start, they still have to close on the land, and then I don't think their construction is going to start till mid to late summer. They had initially wanted to start in like April or May and get going here, so they didn't feel that they would get it paved this year, which engineering's fine with. I think it would, even if they get the sewer and the water in, they get the gravel in and start building this winter, they can pave it next summer, give the road a chance to set up, pave it next summer. So I don't have an issue with switching the Phase 1 completion date from 2025 to 2026. I think it's a reasonable request from the developer.
Okay, thank you. Discussion? Questions? Motions? Alder Martins?
I'll make a motion to revise the developers agreement with Green Tree Construction.
All right, I have a motion from Martins.
Second that motion.
Second. Oh,
Second from Watson. I heard it. Further discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed. We'll move on to agenda item number 10, discussion and possible action on addition of 2nd Street to Forest Street, 2nd Street from Forest Street to Division Street, and Division Street from 2nd Street East to the dead end to proposed 2026 street reconstruction projects.
Yeah, I brought the street reconstruction projects to this committee last month, and this potential project kind of surfaced in the meantime here. That the building on the corner of 2nd and Forest that's getting developed into a bakery, so they're putting a lot of Godory's is in there remodeling that facility right now, and they contacted me with the condition of the road, and the road's it's in horrible shape. There's really no users right now other than the post department. The post office uses that as one of their exits. So, but when this bakery gets going, they're in the remodeling process now. It would get going this fall. So they asked if there was anything to do. So I contacted Finance Director Mary Ann Grote, and she said that there could be a TID amendment to number 12, which is coming, that could fund the road reconstruction. So I'm bringing it to this committee. If the TID amendment does go through, then I would be in favor of reconstructing this road next year to make it a nice road for the bakery there. And we would work with them to, because they are going to have some driveways there, and their sidewalk and their door entrances, so it would just be a nice not an amenity, but it's a needed improvement for that street. It wasn't really a high priority when there was nothing on there, but the investment that's getting put in that parcel, I think it makes sense to use TID dollars to reconstruct the street.
Okay.
I'm pretty familiar with the condition of the curbing and whatnot over there. It's pretty bad. And this new addition really looks nice and seems like it deserves, infrastructure investment to help it along. So I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay. I have a
I'll
motion-
second it.
Motion from Alder Neal, second from Alder Larson. Any further discussion? See none. Alder Watson?
So then if the amendment goes through, then our motion will go through, but if it doesn't, then, but the process of amending the TID boundaries, that's coming up, right? Didn't we already vote on that at council?
Yes, Marianne said that's coming soon. So I guess it would, if that comes to the amendment, maybe Eric can help me out a little bit. I think then it would go, I think you can approve the project here, and then it would have come to the funding, to the budget. If the budget's not there, then the project just
So
kind
it's
of.
not like contingent upon?
It just kind of died, the budget, the project would just fail or fall off the, if finance doesn't agree with it and the TID amendment doesn't go through, then the project just falls off.
Thank you. Any other questions? See none? All those in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? And none are opposed. And that passes. All right, agenda item number 11, update on proposed fleet maintenance facility and possible location. Alder Killian, do you want to say?
Good evening. My name is Terry Killian. I reside at 133 East Thomas Street in Wausau, and I am the alderperson for District 3. And standing here on the side of the podium, again, reminds me of how I used to feel before I was an alderperson. The reason I'm in attendance at the meeting this evening is because of my concerns regarding the reference in the packet to the possible use of Cleveland Avenue for the fleet facility and for fire department usage. That site is zoned residential and is surrounded by residential properties. It is an area that has long endured multiple types of industry and environmentally related issues. Public input related to Cleveland Avenue and its usage has been extensive, and there has been strong opposition to any further industrialization of this location. The end use of this property should be something that will be of benefit and positivity for the neighborhood. It is my understanding that the council voted in 2021 to completely remove Cleveland Avenue from the feasibility study for the fleet facility. So why does this property even continue to be referenced in packet information for the fleet facility or any other industry? As recorded on public video, the city committed to submitting an EPA cleanup grant application for 1300 Cleveland Avenue. A key part of that grant is providing an end use for the property defined by public participation. I expect the city to honor its commitment and for this to occur. Thank you.
Thank you. I guess, Erica, any updates on that you would like to add?
Yeah, we did have some updates, actually. There was another property that came up for sale recently. It was on Single Avenue. You'll see it in the packet. We worked with our, kind of our design architect and layout to see if that property was feasible. It's narrow, but it's long. It was a little over 6 acres, so unfortunately, it wasn't wide enough. So when you look at turning movements, buildings, and how that property would have to function, it wasn't going to work. We also had them take a look at 901 Cherry Street, and that property will work with our facilities. With the parking lot that's there, the owners of that parking lot in the past have said that they're not interested at that time to sell, but I think we'll go back to them and discuss maybe some other options, maybe, as I stated in my memo, maybe moving that parking lot, reshaping it, giving us a little bit more space to work. If we were to use it, I think we'd build right up to that parking lot, basically, and then if the city used it for a trail and everything, I mean, basically that parking lot, there'd be no place for snow and anything like that. So I think it'd be prudent for us to reach out to them again And there's been some discussions with the Finance Committee as well on that property. And I think there will be coming up here within the next month as well. So those are my updates at this point. One other, we have also, actually, some of the property owners down by our DPW site have actually reached out to us, and we've reached back out to them to see what properties would be interested in selling, to see if that's still a viable option down there. To expand our property down there, and then put the fleet facility down there on the expanded property. So, and those discussions are still ongoing as well, so.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, Alder Neal?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, from the get-go, I've been concerned about Cherry Street as an option because I feel that there may be a higher value use of that property. I wonder if we could bring up Development Director Pfeiffer to speak to this. Hello, Randy. Hi. All along, I've been concerned that property at Cherry Street, might have a better use than a fleet facility, being as it's on the river, along, a river walkway, downtown, if you will. Could be seemingly to me an attractive option for somebody who wanted to do something, maybe mixed use or residential density, high density, that kind of thing. So could you speak to that, the potential value you see in that property?
Yeah, obviously they're not making any more riverfront property out there. We've been trying to assist Eric and his team in trying to find a location for that. Unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of locations that meet his size requirements. That's just the fact of having a developed city. Obviously, doing residential there, sometimes the mixed use is going to bring a lot greater tax revenue return. And if we can continue to find alternatives, that'd be great. We just want to let them know we're working on the site. One of our main interests in acquiring some of the Cherry Street and North First Ave properties are extension of that river edge trail. That's something that's been going on far past my time here. And that's one big obligation, but if we were able to site the public works garage there as a compromise to find a place for the city facility as well as acquiring that trail, all the options are on the table. From a development perspective, of course, I would love to see more residential development, mixed-use development along the river, but we also have to, keep in mind that we got to find a new place for the facility.
I agree. I mean, it's a conundrum, if you will. But when I think in terms of, the city's strategic direction and visions for development, that's not one of them in my book. I mean, it's just, we certainly, I guess, have to heighten our efforts to find another location for the facility. But boy, I would wish that this was the last one that we would look at before we've exhausted all other possible avenues for development and making that a tax revenue generating place downtown on the river walkway. I think that I'm going to stick with that until I'm just convinced elsewise. Thank you.
Alder Neal, to your point, I think most people are aware the city's had a long history of trying to remove industrial land uses along the river. So, that's always our intent when we're looking at first acquiring these properties too. The Cherry Street property, if you've been by there, it's less than the desirable standards we want to see for our riverfront property and just development in general. It's a dilapidated property, so being able to acquire that for the best use, if it ends up being the fleet facility or we can find something better for it, it's just an interest that we have. So thank you.
Well,
I would just add that it could be a property that we could actively market, before we throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, put it out there as a development opportunity.
Alder Larson?
I'll agree to disagree. I think that, I agree with Mr. Pfeiffer that we need to put this thing somewhere, and, so what if we decide to save this property for riverfront development or whatever? I mean, how many properties have we got sitting at our riverfront right now that that aren't being developed, that have been sitting there for years and years and years and years. You know, so I'm all for going forward with this Cherry Street property because there isn't a whole lot of other places to go. I mean, there's just not places to go. So that's where I'm at now, and I'll agree to disagree with Alder Neal, but that's not the first time we've done that, so thank you.
All right. Any more discussion? All right, thanks, Eric, for the update, everyone for the update. And then we'll move on to the amendments. So we'll go to agenda item number 12, discussion and possible action on Foundry on Third Phase 1 LLC parking lease agreement. Randy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. What we have in front of you tonight is a parking agreement between the Foundry on Third for the Sears East ramp. Currently, there's 975 parking spots available in that ramp. Last check, we had 159 permits for that ramp. So we have significant occupancy in there. What the agreement talks about is 100 reserved stalls on the third floor that would be paid for on a monthly basis starting December 1 this year. Provides a 20-year guaranteed revenue to the city or as long as that ramp is operable. For this long-term commitment of the agreement, we provided a 20% discount within the agreement for the Foundry. There is one change that you'll see in your packet to what, in conversations with Eric, that may have overpromised, got lost in translation through. That's item 4A1 under city commitments. In removing these, we're looking at removing the sweeping provision under city responsibilities. Just based on the equipment we have, it's not something that we can do. We'll provide the annual maintenance that we would in any case. We do have Nick Patterson available online on WebEx if there's any questions for him, but I'm available to answer questions. Leave up for your discussion.
And I'll just do a little background. This came to economic development, and it didn't seem like it was whole, and so we referred it back, and then talk was that it should come to this committee because it's part of the facilities. So so that's kind of the backstory of that. If you
Yeah,
want to add something.
sometimes when we get, we're talking about developments, we start to silo things through the Economic Development Committee. I believe it was Alder Larson that made the point that we're talking about a city facility and parking, so it makes sense in this case to bring it through infrastructure. I think it was January we talked about it at Economic Development Committee. Since then, the city attorneys worked with outside counsel as well as Foundry on Third to refine some of those previous concerns within the agreement.
Alder Larson?
Mr. Chair, I don't have a problem with reserving 100 spots. My question is what's the lifespan left of this parking? I mean, we just tore down a ramp that was 30-some years old, and now these ramps are 30-some years old. Are we going to be on the hook for for providing a contract that we can't keep? You know, if say this ramp is dead in another 5 years, we have to spend millions of dollars to build another ramp to honor this agreement. Go ahead, Alan. I'm not done, but go ahead.
No, you can finish, Lou. No.
No, and another thing is too is I'm strongly opposed to giving Foundry on Third 20% off. We've already given them 10 years or 20 years pretty near tax-free in the city. I would rather see the 100 stalls just be saved for T-Wall and let whoever wants to park in those 100 spots come down to City Hall and get their parking permit just like everybody else. I will not support a 20% decrease in revenue for that. Thank you.
Alan, you want to?
Yeah, sure. I can
the ramp
speak to
question?
I can speak to the structural integrity of the ramp. So we do have Walker Consultants, and they do inspect the ramps for us every year, and we do have a budget every year for ramp maintenance. And I just want to say that the Sears ramp and the Penny's ramp are a different construction than the McClellan ramp was. That was basically, just in simple terms, that was like a Lincoln log set put together. These structures, Sears and Penny's, are post-tension. They're a lot more robust structure. And from what Walker's telling us, they are in good condition, and this council has put a lot of money into maintenance over the years, and we are going to, hopefully, we'll continue to put money into those. This summer we're having $600,000 that are going into the Jefferson ramp, and then we rotate those funds. The last maintenance was done on Penny's. Now we're in Jefferson. We're going to go back to Sears, but I can just speak that we are going to have to continue to put maintenance money into those ramps, but the Sears ramp is in good shape, and I'm confident we can get at least 20 years out of it.
Thank you.
Alder Neal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, I, for one, I'm glad to finally see this come forward. I've been waiting for it for a while now, and glad to see that something's been hammered out. Respectfully disagree with Alder Larson about the discount. I think the discount is something that you do with a development partner. Also for a property that is delivering no revenue, essentially. I mean, aside from the nominal 100 or so, it is largely vacant. And if we can work with a development partner, give them a sweetened deal on, a limited number of parking spaces for their tenants, and looking forward to maybe working with this partner again in the future, they might be more of a mind to work with us further, seeing that we, partner with them and work with them and come to agreements with them rather than treat them adversarially or like they just weren't important. So I think strategically and in terms of revenue, this is money that we don't have that'd be great to have. And for the sake of future development as well, I strongly support this, and I think it's. I appreciate the work that went into hammering it out, and I'm glad it's here before us, and I will definitely vote for it.
All right, thank you. I guess one thing that came out of economic development was this isn't the first discount that we have on parking ramps. Do you remember, Randy, more about that?
Yeah, I can't give you a direct answer on that. My understanding is there's other agreements that we have where there's discounted ramp fees. One of the interesting things that I wanted to make sure that we included in this particular agreement, we have some other agreements out there where we have an development agreement in place that reserves stalls for a company. That doesn't mean they necessarily have to pay for those stalls, but we need to account for those when we're looking at our parking. Some up to 400 stalls for a building that now sits empty. So we wanted to ensure that if we're reserving these stalls for them, that they're paying for them. Is that a discount as proposed? But at that same time, it's very unlikely that they're going to have 100 people parking there the whole time. So they could go the route of individual parking. Everybody has to do it. For their development, they want to streamline it, make it easier for their tenants. And it also, like I said, it provides a guaranteed stream of revenue where we're lacking one now. Thank you.
Alder Martins.
Yeah, I guess question, refresh my memory, Randy, does the Foundry project, is this their source of parking, or is there underground parking or street parking as part of the Foundry?
So they have underground parking as well as utilizing, if you've been by there, you've seen the skywalk that's been put up on the third floor. So they have underground parking, and this will supplement that.
So this would be like their overflow or additional parking, so if somebody's got like a second vehicle or something of that nature. Okay. So, yep. And to Randy's point, I remember, sitting on the finance committee, we do offer discounts to other businesses or down that utilize parking downtown. I know that Compass Properties has purchased or at least a large number of spaces for their employees in the businesses in their buildings. So this is not offering a discount is not unusual, and for a 20-year commitment, I think a discount like this is the least we could do.
If I remember correctly, it was Jefferson Inn, I think, has some discounts on one of those ramps. Anyway, I digress. All right, any further discussion? Motions, amendments?
A motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve as is from Alder Martin, or Alder Neal, second from Alder Martins. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, so that passes 3-1. And we will move on to agenda item 13, discussion and possible action on first revision to the state municipal agreement for Stewart Avenue from South 72nd Avenue to South 48th Avenue, project ID 6999-09-02/72. And this is Alan again.
Yeah, correct. So this was the section of Stewart Avenue that was reconstructed last summer. The final cost, well, the project came in above the state municipal agreement that we had. And so what this state municipal agreement does is it is in a summary of costs, it reflects what the actual costs were and what our commitments are. But it also, with Eric and Mary Ann, working with the state, they got the state to agree to reduce their delivery costs, which are in paragraph 24, section E, subsection 2. They reduced their delivery costs from 10% to 4%. So it saved the city some money. It's just a standard fee that they charge, and we got those reduced, or Eric and Mary Ann did, so that's reflected in this agreement. So that cost went down from a delivery cost of $178,000 roughly to about $71,000, so we saved about $107,000 on the agreement.
Thanks.
So I guess I'd recommend approving this just because it reflects the actual costs that were committed, and it also reduces the overall costs.
Questions?
I would make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve from Alder Neal,
I'll second.
second from Alder Larson. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None are opposed, and that carries, that passes. We'll move on to agenda item number 14, discussion and possible action approving amendment to temporary lease agreement with Woodson YMCA Foundation, Inc., Yawkey Park. Is Ann here?
I would make a motion to approve the extension as requested.
Okay, I have a
I'll
motion.
second.
Motion to approve the extension from Alder Neal, second from Alder Larson. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None are opposed, and that carries. And I think we're on to adjournment. So I would take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Motion from
Second.
Larson, second from Neal. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and we stand adjourned. Thank you.